Good morning, Jen. Welcome to the What's the Temp podcast. My name is Betina, and I am coming in hot today.
You are so cheerful, and I can't really match that energy. But I'm Jen, and I definitely today need to check in so I don't check out.
Good morning, my friend. Good morning. Let's start with these temp checks. Today's episode is the community check-in. Should I say I'm excited about it? Do I have to?
Mm-hmm.
You know what it is, right? And our temp check this morning is a social impact temperature. What's your social impact temperature today?
My social impact temperature today is a perfect 83 degrees. Outdoor temp, a slight breeze, and it's for reasons that you wouldn't necessarily predict. This episode is going to be incredibly difficult for me because it's not Tuesday. It's actually Thursday. I almost
not
said Thursday.
It's not Thursday.
Thursday just does not work at all. Sounds like Thursday. But okay, so just on Tuesday, Betina canceled me.
Yeah.
I said, let's record. And she said, shows are supposed to be uplifting usually. And when she told me a little anecdote of when she was a child, I don't know why I'm saying she. I guess I'm speaking to our listeners and not to you right now. But she told me that when she used to walk to school, she used to listen to the same morning show every day. And that the reason that she listened to it was uplifting. It was uplifting. So, and then she said, maybe you wouldn't, in so many words, maybe you wouldn't want to bring rage into the show today. Because rage was the way I was feeling on Tuesday. And it's not completely subsided. And so another thing we were talking about on Tuesday is how neither of us like to talk about things until we've already processed things. It was really interesting that you said that to me because I've noticed that about myself in the context of meetings. I really don't like to share when I'm in the thick of it.
Yeah.
I like to share after I've already metabolized it and after I've already come to solutions or silver linings or a positive outlook. So this is different for me because this week I'm not going to be able to get there, but it's also really, really important to me that I am honest. And so I just want this show to be true and to be authentic. And so I can't always be showing up in the place I want to be. So on Juneteenth, I found out I was pregnant. And because it wasn't planned, it was kind of a journey just the finding out about it because I missed my period by 10 days. And it was, it was just a journey to get into the mindset of, okay, now we're going to have to buy this bigger car. And now we're going to, it wasn't typical because it wasn't planned.
Yeah.
But I got my heart behind it and I embraced it. And I was really excited to tell you guys, and this is going to make me emotional, but I couldn't because on my second ultrasound, the baby had no heartbeat. And I never thought I would have a miscarriage. Why did I not think that? I guess because I have two healthy babies. And I always told myself it's just not a part of my story. I just never wanted to put any energy there. And when I went to the ultrasound, it was a horrible experience because I've had a million ultrasounds. I've had two kids. So they always show you the heartbeat first thing. So when they go in and they show you the baby and there's no heartbeat, and then the ultrasound technician is not allowed to talk to you about it because they're not a doctor. So they just stay silent. And then they kind of get out of Dodge and go start imaging your ovaries and stuff. And it's like, something's wrong, but they won't tell you. And so it's such a, you feel so gaslit, Basically, I knew something was wrong. I had this horrible feeling as I was laying down on the table and I looked up to the ceiling or to the sky behind it. And I said, in my head, God's plan, not Jen's plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew it. Like, I just knew something was wrong. I don't know how. I just knew something was wrong. So you can tell people at 12 weeks, but the thing is, like, I tell people, and I've always told people the second that I get the first pregnancy test. I am reckless. And what I've always said to myself is if something were to happen, never thinking that this would happen, that I would have to then just reach out to everybody. But I'm such an open book, so I wouldn't have a problem just going around and telling dozens of people also that I had a miscarriage. So this is the situation I'm in now. I did, in fact, have to reach out to dozens of people and tell them I lost the baby. And honestly, that part of it wasn't that bad because the way that I preemptively combat shame is to be open about absolutely everything. Because then if you're judging me because of that, or if you feel some type of way about that, like that's on you. And I've just decided that's my stance is like, I'm going to be me and I'm going to tell it like it is. And if you don't like me, like Herschel always says, if you don't like me, get in line. Like he doesn't care. And I respect that because that's harder for me to get to that place. But here's the thing that made it a million times worse. So this happened 2 days before Nico's party. And they gave me two options. They said, I can have this, it's called a DNC, or I can have this, you can take this medication that will help you to pass the tissue. So this is what upset me. I switched practices because the OB that I always talk about, who I'm obsessed with her, she holds space like none other.
Yes.
I followed her from my old practice to this practice. So I'm at a new practice going through all of this. So what happened is that I was given the option to have this minor surgery or to do the medical route. I was in complete shock. So who can make medical decisions at that point? I don't know anything about miscarriage. I've never thought about it. I've never read about it. I don't know anything. So I just asked for the recommendation and she said, try to avoid surgery. And I was like, well, that makes sense. And then she said, you'll take this pill. It's called misoprostol. She said, you will, basically have the equivalent of a heavy period and you'll pass it all within 24 to 48 hours. And I said, okay. I mentally prepared myself for that because I knew that Nico's party was in 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I go into it. I get my heating pad. This part's going to make me cry. My coworker, she has had a miscarriage. And she said, do you have a heating pad? Because she knew I was about to take the meds. And I said, no, my heating pad just broke. 30 minutes later, she texted me, ding dong, at my door. There was a bag. There was a bag with a heating pad, chocolate-covered pretzels, Swedish fish, Sour Patch Kids, chocolates, Tylenol, lavender bubble bath. It was like 15 things in there. And I just lost it because I was like, what is this feeling? What is this feeling? Like I'm crying, but I'm not sad, but I'm not happy. Like
you're
what's
part
the
of an
feeling?
amazing community. That's what it is.
The feeling was, I was like, I feel so understood. And that means so much to me.
Yes.
I'm not like isolating and whatever, like I'm putting it out there and people are coming to help me and having vulnerability be rewarded with this all-encompassing support it's just the best case scenario. And then you know what she texted me because I texted her and I was like, I'm crying right now. And she's texted me, I hope this helps 1%.
Yes. Yeah.
And that made me feel so understood too because like there's nothing you can do. Mm-hmm. There's nothing you can do, So I get ready and I have my heating pad and I have all my stuff. I like literally ate those chocolate covered pretzels for dinner because I just couldn't even function.
Yeah.
And I go and I get ready and nothing happens. Nothing. Like, no cramps, no clots, no like the lightest, like almost like if you can imagine, like, sorry if there's male listeners, but like the lightest period day is what it was like. One day, not even, of like a light period day. That's not what's supposed to happen. So I do end up having to live my worst nightmare of walking around Nico's party with a dead baby inside of me. And honestly, it was okay. Because the thing is, I have a very clear delineation in my mind between what I can and cannot control. Mm-hmm. And I tried something. I took an action, but it didn't work out. I can only control the taking of the action. I am out of the outcome business.
Yes. I love that. I'm out of the outcome business.
Yeah, I can't be in that business.
I'm stealing that.
Thank you. I didn't make it up. But so I did end up living that nightmare, but the thing is the way that I am is that just every single person I encountered, I was like, "Hey, I had a miscarriage 2 days ago." Because even the people that I hadn't told about the pregnancy, I still wanted to talk about it. And guess what happened? Is people said I had one.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And so, like, I guess I'm just feeling emotional right now about community, which is why I want to do this episode because I'm making the assumption at all times that what I'm going through is not unique. So I'm not going to personalize my grief. I want to share it.
Yeah.
I would be saying it to someone and then they would right away just say to me, I went to the bathroom and I just started hemorrhaging blood. And then that made me think, well, would that have been better or worse than not seeing a heartbeat on the ultrasound? I don't even know. Everybody's
Yeah.
experience is
It's
different. Like if
yep.
I had just thought I had a healthy baby and then all of a sudden blood started flying out of me, like I don't know if that would have been better or worse, you know? So it's like at least giving me all these perspectives. But the thing is, the party was wonderful. The update is just that it was wonderful. The weather was perfect. There were 3 bounce houses and a slip and slide, and one of the bounce houses had a water slide as well. And Herschel and I just at one point looked around, and every single kid was just running around having the time of their lives, and every single adult was sitting and chilling.
Wow.
And they didn't really even have to watch their kids because all of the bounce houses and water slides were like positioned so that you just always had eyes on them, but they were so occupied you didn't need to watch them. So the party was a huge success. I did get to witness the reunion of I had a front row seat for the reunion of one of my high school friends running into my brother's friend who she dated for 2 years, and it was amazing. It was really good, people watching. And so Monday comes, and I can't get in touch with my doctor's office because I'm just so lost now. I've now gone down, after the party ended, I had the opportunity to just go down a Reddit rabbit hole of why
Which is
isn't
the
this med
worst thing when
working?
you're in the middle of it. I mean, it's informative, but it's also traumatic in its own way.
It's 2 things. First of all, it does give you a sense of community because when you start reading the stories of how many people have experienced miscarriage, you stop feeling alone.
Yeah.
You know, and so it did do that for me, but it also gave me a lot of information that made me feel some type of way. And this is my main point, which I'm going to get to right now. Because everybody that I was reading about took a combination of the misoprostol, which is what I took, with mifepristone. And then somewhere in the back of my mind, and I didn't know if I was being too conspiratorial, but I remembered that mifepristone is something that's currently under review, even though it's been around for decades and is perfectly safe. And it's because it's just something that's caught in the political crossfire. So I was calling my doctor's office frantically just because I didn't know what to do. Everybody on Reddit said that they were given a second dose and that they were told what to do if nothing happened. So I was so lost. I was calling the doctor's office. They wouldn't let me speak to a doctor. My doctor was out that day. I was, calling and they said, someone will call you back. I waited 7 hours. I was a total zombie at work. I couldn't focus. I couldn't do things that I can normally do at work. Like I couldn't do this one task to close the month. And it's like, I've done this 50 times. Couldn't figure it out. And then at the end of the day, I called them again at 4 and I said, hey, I've been waiting 7 hours for a doctor to call me back. I need to know what to do. And they said, we promise you someone will call you by the end of the day. We've made it the top priority, and nobody called. So I went another night of trying to find the answers online and going down this Reddit rabbit hole and researching this mifepristone, and I just couldn't figure out why wouldn't they give it to me. So by Tuesday, I was calling, and every time I would get off the phone, because I would ask to speak to a doctor, and they would just keep saying that's not how it works. All the doctors are with patients, and I would just hang up the phone and just put my head down on my desk and just cry because I was so emotionally exhausted just from trying to advocate for myself and just to try to find answers. And then my spiritual advisor told me, she said, you have to be, I'm going to curse, a bitch. She said I have to be. And I was like, that's just not in my character.
Girl.
I'm just telling you, I don't feel like it's possible for me, but I know that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and I know those people who act like total psychopaths at a hospital, like their family member gets better care, and I've been observing that, but like I feel like I can't bring myself to do it. So she said, you have to, because that's the way the world works. So you got to get with the program. So I called them back, and I was basically like, I'm going to report you to the AMA for lack of care if you do not have somebody call me back. I need to speak with a doctor. I don't care which doctor. And then they're like, well, you can't. That's not how it works. And I was like, I'll hold. Finally, they agreed that someone would call me at the end of the day. So after 16 workday hours that went by with me waiting, I finally got in touch with somebody, and it was my doctor. And I love my doctor still. And she was really reasonable. She did say it's on me that I didn't inform you that it was a possibility that nothing could happen and that you were unprepared for that. But
Right.
I asked her, I said, why wouldn't they prescribe the mifepristone? Why wouldn't they do that if it has better patient outcomes? And she said, our practice does not perform elective abortions, and so we don't stock it. And basically, they've just made a decision that they're not going to offer it.
But the thing is, the management of a medical miscarriage it requires the same medication of an elective abortion. And because they don't do elective abortions, I get that they don't stock it, but they couldn't have prescribed it, so you could have picked it up at a pharmacy. Is that not something do they actually give you the pills, or do they give you a prescription? And forgive my ignorance.
Not at all, because I didn't know anything about it either. So you can't get it at most pharmacies.
Okay, so because of what's going on in the political climate around abortion, so they're basically lumping in the care of medical miscarriages with abortions.
Correct. If they already don't perform elective abortions, then why would you not stock mifepristone?
Yeah.
You know, it's like you think you have this distance from like legislators legislating female health care. I always think, well, that'll never affect me. I don't live in Texas. That's what I think. I mean, like, I don't know whether I would have been in the 95%, but at least instead of like a 1 in 4 failure rate, I would have had a 1 in 10. And to me, that would have made a difference, even just for peace of mind.
Yeah.
So in addition to having to grieve the loss of, you know, I'm not going to say a child. I think that's overstating it. I don't have a child. It was a very, very young fetus, but it's the death of an idea, and it's a loss any way you spin it. So in addition to me having to like process this loss, like I have to have my grief compounded by this
with what they're doing, what's happening in your
political
body.
nonsense.
Yeah.
And I feel so conflicted because here's the thing. I say that, but I'm like, but I don't want to lose my doctor. She was so nice. She spent a half hour on the phone with me.
Yeah.
So I will update you about how the surgery goes. It's not even a serious surgery. It's just a procedure.
Yeah.
But what I want to say is that the community that has surrounded me has been like nothing I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
Maybe like when I was getting sober, that was a community experience that was really, really powerful. But this has been really powerful too. It's like people, this is what makes me think like I'm getting emotional now because I'm happy just because people are so good. Like I'm right that people are good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's all. And we can move on. I wanted to just keep it real. So
Sink to the deep end, hurt and defeated. Thought I could do this, laugh through the sadness. Don't know how I ended up, I ended up so lost. Sink to the deep end, hurt and defeated. Too little and too late.
Yeah, I love the fact that you have an amazing community around you. And if there was ever a time for a community to rally together, it's a time like this, you know, because it's something we can all understand. We all understand the pain of it. And like you said, it becomes compounded when you have to deal with all the other stuff that comes along with it, depending on the political climate that you're living in. So,
and I'm in the bluest of blue states in New Jersey, so it just shocked the hell out of me that I would even be facing this situation.
So imagine me living in a whole red state, what I would go through, you know? But I'm just glad that you're processing, and I'm glad that you have so much love around you. That's what's important. And even when I sent you a text over the weekend when I knew that you were going to have so many people over for Nico's party, it was important for me to just I wanted you to be able to channel that love, to allow it in, to let people, hug on you, to not get so caught up in getting things done, but just be present and enjoy the time. And it sounds like you got a chance to do that.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. That's really beautiful because, when is the next time you're going to have 100 people at your house? You know what I mean? Or in
Yeah,
one
we
place.
probably will do it again. But
Okay, so my social impact temperature is when I think about social impact, I think about outside of your family, outside, like how are you impacting the society around you? Um, what I've been doing, I've been calling my family nation, because it's so, and you know this about me. My focus is my family, always has been, probably always will be. I feel like I come from that place where grandmothers prayed for their grandkids, prayed for everyone in the family, like that was their job, right? And
yeah.
so I'm coming to a certain age where I'm becoming that person in the family where I can see every family member for kind of who they are and the real stance, like how you have these rose colored glasses that you look at your family through, but then there's when you come to a certain age and when you're guided to pray for certain individuals, it's like certain things will just come to you, like pray for this, pray for that, pray for this, pray for that. And so my family has been my community, and when we started doing the community portion of our show, I really, really wanted to look out. And I know that that's going to happen, but I feel that it's so important for me to focus on family in this season. While I want to focus on outside impact, and my focus is putting myself into the community that I'm in now so that I can focus on that, but I feel so strongly that I should still focus on my family. And it's been said that, oh, your family comes to you for everything and da 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 da. But with the passing of my brother, it's like we're growing more connected. We're learning to be a community here, right? And as we're learning that, there's so much nuance that comes with that. And so it's like, I have to learn how to engage with this person who I haven't engaged with in a decade or more. I have to learn how to, so it's like I'm learning people inside my family nation anew. And while I'm doing that, I'm just learning to be a better me because it's requiring me to give more of myself and to show up. But the good thing is being able to choose how I want to show up. So it's like families that's going through a lot. I'm used to being that one that's stepping in, boots on the ground, helping. But in the past, I would do that to my own detriment. Like I would deprioritize the things of my life and prioritize the things of their lives. And now I'm just in this place where I'm supportive, I'm loving, I'm prayerful, and then I do what I can do for you without allowing your life to take me off of what I'm supposed to be on, take me off the mound of my life.
Yeah.
You know?
You're not overextending and you're being loving but boundaried.
Yes, and that's a new place for me because we have a family member that's going through something, just a big issue right now. And I was like, hey, these are some options that are available to you. Basically, I want to see you put one step forward and then I'll support you with the next. But I'm not going to be the person that puts that first step forward. I want you to do some work too.
Brilliant.
And
Oh
I've
my God, if we
never been
all
that
only did that.
person.
Oh, that's so good.
I've never been that person. I'm like, these are the options, make some calls, and then I'll get back to you because
Follow
that
up.
means I can go away and do what I was already planning to do with my day.
Yeah.
Give you an opportunity to
take some action.
Yes, and to rally for yourself.
Yes. That's
And
so empowering.
that just comes from, I don't want us to be this society of this damsel in distress society.
Yes.
Like, be a part of your own rescue. Do the part that you can, do your best in the area that you can, and then let the community step up to support you the rest
Yeah,
of the
you don't
way.
wanna train someone into learned helplessness. Have you ever heard of learned
Yes.
helplessness?
Yes.
Like when someone feels like they can just receive the support without taking any action, and then that's reinforced time and time again, and then they just become completely helpless because of a systematic training to become that way.
And they never become a part of the supportive community for others because they're not used to doing anything.
Yeah, true. They don't
And
learn that skill.
yes. And so I just want to change the direction of the way that I've seen things go in the past, because I thought me having on my superhero cape and, jumping in and doing this and doing that. I thought all of that was the way it was supposed to, because if you're able-bodied, just help, just do what you can, do all that you can, and then do some more, right? Now I have requirements. And it was so interesting because this was how I raised my children. I raised my children when they got to this place when they were teenagers and young adults, and I was helping them. I would help you as long as I saw you helping yourself. When I saw that you wouldn't help yourself, don't count on me for anything. But I had to get that way. And I feel like I'm reverting back to that. But it's like I said, I want to empower you. I don't want to just give you a fish. I want to teach you to fish in all the
Mhm.
ways that I can.
And God helps those who help themselves.
Yeah. So you got to give them something to work with. Give them
Oh my
something to work
God.
with. And it's just like there's a story in the Bible with the man at the pool of Bethesda where he had all these excuses. And Jesus looked at him and said, "Do you want to be healed?" And I don't hear him saying, "Do you want to be healed?" He was like, bro, do you want to be healed? Like, you want to be whole? And the dude never said yes. He
Mm.
just kept on saying, well, this is what happens and this is what happens. And
Mhm.
that's how so many of us are in our lives. We're so
Yeah.
busy with the excuses and with all the reasons why
And the
things aren't
blame
working.
game and the
Yes.
self-pity. Yeah.
And not doing the things that we can do. Do what you can. And then this is where community comes in. I love being a major part of a community that can benefit from me being there. So my temp check, even though it's low, because it's low, not because I don't feel like I'm impacting my community or helping my community be the best it can, but it's low. I would say that my oven temp is normally $350. I would say my temp check, community temp check today is about $275, and it's only
Mm.
because I really want to be intentional about the community around me. And that was the whole reason we wanted to do the community portion of this season, because I want to be intentional about looking around me and seeing where there's a need that I can fill and not be 100% focused on what's happening in my family nation, because I already know how to serve them and I'm doing the best that I can there. But there's a way to impact life around me. People around me can use some of the light that I have, and I want to be able to use it for that.
Mhm. And I've always wanted that for you because personally, whenever I talk to you over the past 10, 11 years, every single time I get off the phone with you, I am just buoyant. You always just your spirit is contagious. And every time I
Mm,
would hang up the phone, I would leave smiling or hopeful or motivated. And so I've
mhm.
always wanted you to share that gift. And it's
Yeah.
extremely exciting to me that I've always been saying that, but that now I never imagined I would be the vehicle for it. But here we are. Also, this is our community now.
Yeah, this is our community. This is a part of it.
Yeah.
So I hope that that some of my buoyancy bleeds over and helps you smile or helps you think, or just helps you want to be in a better place or know that you're supported in the place that you are in, and that you can travel over, that you can get over it.
Yeah.
I always want to be the person that's a beacon of hope, because I have gone through a
You
lot of
are.
things, or witnessed a lot of things, or experienced a lot of things, that I want to be a beacon of hope for people that feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do this one more thing, or I can't experience this one more time, or this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me and I can't do this. And then here I show up and say, well, guess what? I went through that. And here I am smiling in your face right now. And I don't put on. If anyone knows, like when I say I'm coming in hot, I'm not putting on. I'm really coming in hot. That's why that's my tagline.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is my approach to life. Like I wake up like, how can I make this the best day possible?
Make today great.
You know, make it great. Have a great 24. So that's where I'm at. That's my temp check, and I hope that resonates with a lot of you.
We love it.
And hear what I'm saying now. Spread your love.
So let's transition, Jen, into our backstory, which is how your friendship has influenced your broader community involvement.
Okay. For our friendship in particular, I transmit a lot of your wisdom to other people I know. So there's been times where I was struggling with my relationship, or I was struggling with something where you've said to me certain things. Like one time you said, why don't you just sit down with your partner and ask them with the intent to listen, what do you not like about me? What do you not like about this relationship? What do you like about this relationship? And I think you called it the ABCs of relationships, just getting back to basics, but going into the conversation with the intention to listen. Because a lot of the times, I think when I'm reviewing something that happened in some type of disagreement, my nature is to just reinforce my own rightness. That's how my train of thought goes, at least, is here's why I'm so right. See how I'm so right over here? Look at this way that I'm also so right. That's how my self-righteousness dominates my thought processes. So there's been things like that. There's been things about weight. I find you a real inspiration in the self-acceptance category. And so everyone I know knows Betina. My hairdresser
so
is
funny.
my hairdresser, and you know what they always say is they say, how can I get me one of those? They want to have a friendship like the one that I have.
A whole
Someone who's
commodity.
always positive, always uplifting. You just want to get on that train. You smile as soon as you hear their voice on the phone. They're always bringing the positivity. And it's obviously influenced me too, because it lifts me up, like I've said a million times, but then I spread that to others. And so I just, whenever you say something that's really profound to me, I just always tend to pass that along. I think we, meaning all the people I know, like we're all a community, and we all sort of throw things out there that we've heard, and you never know what's going to stick for somebody. So, but we're in a sharing community of just always trying to transmit whatever wisdom worked for us, and then hopefully that can help someone else. So in particular to our friendship, that's all I have, because I'm definitely going to be turning the mic over to you since I have dominated the first half of the episode. So why don't you hit it? I'll turn it around to you.
For me, our friendship, when I look at you, I talked about in the temp check how, till now, my family has been my community. And it's interesting because in the past, it was more like out of need or necessity, right? Here, as of late, since BJ passed, it's been out of desire. Like we want to create this unity or this community around enjoying each other's company, not just tolerating one another, being around each other because we want to. But there was two things that happened recently. Well, three. One, I don't know if I had spoken about this, but it was something that really, really impacted me. Andrea lived quite a distance from where the funeral was being held, my cousin, best friend. She never told me she was coming. She just loved on me and supported me over the phone and all this and that. And when I got up to speak at the services, I looked in the audience and I saw her face. And that was something that I needed that I didn't know that I needed. Like that hadn't risen to a level of consciousness for me. So there was that a community. But then also at the funeral, I was amazed. It was held at my mother's church. And my mother's been at this church probably 14 or 15 years. But the way those people showed up in love and support for my mother and this entire family, that was so impactful to me because it's like, I want to create that around myself. And it spoke about them, but it spoke more about her, like who she's been, because it was the quality of the love. It was the quality of the support. Like people were stopping me like, are you the oldest daughter? And they were telling me stories that they know about me and things like that. It was just so interesting. And then you are so big on community. Like you are this magnet for other open hearts that are like yours, right? You draw people to you. And these are the things that make me want to step out from just focusing, having this very linear focus on having the family only investment and sharing that love, making me want to create time and space for the broader community. And that's why it's because of you and what I see you creating or what I hear you creating in your immediate neighborhood and in your vicinity. It's just the people around you. You talk to people at the gym. I could be on the phone with you while you're buying a sandwich and you're having a whole conversation with the lady. And it's not rude. It's just like you're just a people person and people are drawn to you. And it's so beautiful. And then looking at the support that you've been getting in your time of need and who gets 100 people to show up at a kid's 1-year birthday party? Like, I mean, that speaks so loudly to
A
who
lot
you
of that is
are.
Herschel. Herschel's a real mover and a
Well,
shaker. I
both
couldn't
of
come
you,
up with
though.
half that.
He's a whole character, though. I love him.
He really is.
But it speaks to who you both are in your communities, right? If you were a total Sasquatch, the people still wouldn't show up even if he was amazing. So trust, it speaks to both of you.
I don't know.
And so it just makes me want to be intentional about creating my version of that. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm looking forward to that. So I'm so excited that we're doing the community version because it's just making me look at things differently. And this friendship is making me desire something that I haven't wanted in a long time. But at this age, I really do want people around me that want to be here because they want to be here. Not because they need something from me or because they want to learn something from me. They want to be here because they want to be here. That's
I
what
don't
I
have a
want.
hard time imagining people wanting to gather around you, though. You're quite a bright light.
You're so funny. I don't know. I can be a little staunch sometimes. So.
I haven't really seen that side to you. Give me an example from recently.
Well, I feel like one of the things about me is I'm very, very, I'm like a doggy with a cone on his head. Like when I'm going, I'm like focused. I'm like, I can't go here. I can't go to that event because I have these 18 things in my project management software that need to be completed today. And
I forgot you can be guarded in a certain way, not with me, but yeah.
And so what I'm doing now is building flexibility so that I can show up at things like, people at the church that have met me. I haven't been to see them since I've been back from California. I should go and show my face, because it's an amazing community. So it's little things like that I just have to do. And I have to come outside of my regimented way of being.
You can be stiff, a little bit stiff with your time with your focus.
I'm
But
stingy.
it's
Stingy
funny,
with that.
stingy. But I don't think of you as stingy. But it's funny that the way that we became friends, because I always forget that you don't just open up the doors to bring anybody into your life, and that you're actually more guarded. But I've just never experienced it because I just never paid any attention to your guardrails because I wasn't aware of them.
Girl.
So it was funny when you were telling me the story of how we met, as I just like totally just kept calling you. And you were like, who is this weirdo? But she also doesn't seem that weird, so I'll allow it. And I just had no cognizance of how guarded you were. I was like, oh, I love this lady. I'm going to keep calling her.
I needed you, though. I needed you at the time and didn't even know it, though. Again,
Yeah.
needed it and didn't know it. God giving me what I needed, and I didn't even have the language to ask for you.
Yeah, and I guess I don't typically pursue people that don't have any interest in pursuing, not pursuing me, but accepting me into their lives, because I'm very fragile. My ego is very fragile. So I guess in whatever way the universe gifted me some type of imperviousness to your guardedness, because I just had no awareness of it and therefore just proceeded like a bull in a china shop because I just had no idea it was even happening. So maybe that was the gift I was given, because typically if I even sense that someone's like putting their guard up even a little bit, I'm like, peace out. Like I just like openness, and that's what I'm drawn to.
It literally couldn't have happened another way. Because you were my software trainer, I had to answer the phone. Like, I had to have the conversation. Like, I had to have the appointments. I needed all that stuff. But
yeah, that structure was maybe the true gift.
that was the gift.
Yeah, that was the gift. We should
It
thank
couldn't have
my
happened any
old
other
boss.
way.
Yeah.
We
And I want to
should.
say two things. One thing about the magnet thing, thank you. I think I'm coming into an acceptance of magnetism going in both directions, meaning coming out from me and from other people back into me. And the other day, my sponsor said the nicest thing to me, because I was just beside myself with the amount of support that was coming in from Nico's for Nico's party. And she said to me, and I wrote it down, I said, I can't believe these wonderful friends I have. I'm just so beside myself. And she said, that's because you are a magnet of attraction and beauty.
Yes.
Normally I would have said, absolutely not. But I was like, right? I was doing the right thing. Like, I there's a lot of love outgoing from me. And that leads me to want to say something about loose ties. So during COVID, I heard this podcast about loose ties. And loose ties means the person you see on your walk to work that you always are passing. It's the guy who works at the hot dog stand. It's the grocery store clerk who you see from time to time and you exchange a smile with. So it means people who are not intimately weaved into your life, but someone who you share moments with on a regular basis. So those are loose ties. And the reason why so many people's mental health tanked during COVID is because they lost all loose ties, because people had to shelter in place. What was it called?
Yes.
What did we had to do? Quarantine? Whatever we were doing, where we weren't really going out into the world. We lost all of our loose ties. So the other day, I was on the phone with Beth, who's my spiritual advisor, and I was at Costco, and same thing as always happens with you. I was getting NyQuil, and the thing starts going off because you can't buy NyQuil without like getting whatever you need. Why? It's so stupid. But this one woman was just like, I can't mess with that stuff anymore. And we just got into this whole conversation about NyQuil while I was on the phone with her. And then when I was on my way out the door, I started chatting with the other guy, the guy who checks your cart. Because I didn't have a cart. I had bags. And I was like, oh no, you can't see into my bags. And he's like, don't you worry about that, ma'am. You have a trustworthy face. And I was like, don't I though? I was like, I don't even think I could steal one strawberry. And he's like, I can tell that about you, ma'am. Like, it was just like a cool, we were just kind of like laughing and going on. And it makes me walk away with a smile on my face, because you have to have fun with it. We're all here at this Costco right now on this Tuesday or whatever day it is. I think it was Tuesday. I ran out right after the pod. And I never used to have fun. I used to always just drink. And then that was the way that I would force myself to feel like I was having fun, but it was really completely manufactured and artificial way of having fun. And then in general, I was just such a huge control freak and just so clenched all the time because of perfectionism and whatever other control issues. So I feel like I never learned to have fun. And now I'm kind of turning into my grandmother because my grandmother would always talk to every single person everywhere she went. And I was like, oh, that's so annoying. But actually, it's not annoying. It's freaking awesome. And I am happy to be that way. And I think just even smiling at somebody can really lighten them up and improve their day. And connection is what people need. So that's my other community check-in is I just think it's really, really important. Instead of walking through a store or wherever you are with your head down, just trying to get in and out, you can actually just look someone directly in the eyes and just comment on the most innocuous thing in the world. And people, I feel like 100% of the time, respond in kind. And then you get to have this really great connection. And there's just the best part about it really is that there is no expectation of ever continuing this. It's that Japanese thing again, that ichigo ichie. In this lifetime, you and I may only meet once. I'm never going to see either of those two people from Costco again. And yet we shared this beautiful moment together. And truly, it was a singular moment. And we both took all that we could out of it. So what is better than that?
So 2 things on that note. I remember years ago when I was traveling, because this is not how life is in California. People do not speak to people. People do not wave to one another. People do not make eye contact anymore. Since cell phones, people do not make eye contact. When we were growing up, we always spoke. When you walked into a room that people were already in, we were taught to speak and acknowledge the people in the room, that kind of thing. We always spoke to elderly people, always. But something happened over the years where all of that, those loose ties, like you said, those loose connections stopped happening. So years ago, probably, 15 years ago, I was in Louisiana. And I was at, the Piggly Wiggly, right, at the market. And it was like 1:00 in the morning. And it was I was on the aisle with just a man. And this, just to show you how my California ignore people brain worked. The man said hi, and it took 60 full seconds for me to recognize that he was speaking to me. And then
That's an eternity.
60 whole seconds for me to realize. And then when
you're
realized
in
it,
silence.
then I overdid it though, because then I was like, oh my gosh, hi, how are you?
Overcompensating.
How are you doing? How your mama doing? How your daddy doing?
Now you're that fake California
person.
weirdo.
Now I'm the weirdo, right? Because it took me so long to recognize that you were speaking to me. And so, but now I live in a state where when you're walking down the street, people wave. People smile. People acknowledge you. They wave their hand for you to cross the street and things like that. And so what's funny is
you're in middle America now.
I'm in middle America. And so now I'm becoming that person. It took a year for me to loosen up my hand to be able
take
to
down
be
your
quick
guard
to wave back. When I see the wave, I wave back.
They're softening
when I see the smile,
Callie.
I'm smiling back. But it took a year for me to get there. And so I'm so grateful that you just explained the loose ties and the importance, because we've not been taught that. I was not taught that. I was taught it growing up, but then when elderly people stopped making eye contact when you walk down the street because of all the things that started happening in inner city communities, they stopped making eye contact. They stopped speaking. They stopped acknowledging your presence because of fear. And so when they stopped doing that, we stopped doing it. And when we stopped doing it with older people, we certainly weren't doing it with younger people. And so now to be in this place.
Now everybody's alone and afraid.
Yes.
Just like in COVID.
And so now to be in this place where everybody waves, and I mean, they wave like they know you, like you were raised here, like they know your parents. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
And so it's taking me a while to just start to loosen my hand, because it's like the people with the cars already, and I'm like, oh, that person just waved. Oh, and now I look like a mean girl because I didn't wave back or I didn't acknowledge the wave. But now I'm a little bit softened.
Or you just like oblivious, but you're working on it.
It took me a while.
Yeah,
it took me a while.
That's so nice. I love that.
Yeah, but thanks for explaining that, because it's really important.
I love that. The Midwest is the best.
Okay, life focus question. Let's go into this life focus question. Now that we took all that time with the temp check, honey, we are zooming past these other things. So
Gotta catch up.
the life focus question is topic is expanding accountability beyond personal relationships. Do you want to take that one on? Expanding accountability beyond, accountability is my favorite word in the world ever. So expanding accountability beyond personal relationships. What do you
Why don't
have?
you kick this one off just because it sounds like you're resonating with that word accountability? So you hit it. I'm just curious what you have to say, and then I'll come back around.
Well, so for me, like I was already saying, for me, it's important to be accountable to my new community. Accountability for me always meant productivity and progress, right? But now, in this sense, it means creating new ties, new relationships. And so I want to be the person that can be counted on to show up at the barbecue. I want to be the person that can be counted on to show up at the jazz concert in the park. That would not be something that I would normally do, but these days and these moments are very important. And I can do the striving and I can do the productivity and all these other things at a set time, but I do need to make time to live. And so, I want to model what I've been seeing. I want to model what I saw with my mother's community. I want to model what you're showing me week after week when we're doing this work on this podcast. You're showing me what it looks like to be deeply involved in a community. I want to break the family only pattern where my family has been the only thing that I've been investing in for years and years and years. And while that has a level of satisfaction to it, I can broaden my scope and thereby broaden my pleasure, you know? I feel like it will create like a ripple effect of responsibility in my life because it's like if I'm responsible to people, this is what you're showing me. Look at what you've just gone through with the baby. If I'm responsible to people and if I'm showing up for people, then when I'm in need, guess what happens? I get texts that say ding dong. You know what I mean? I get people that make a phone call and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about you. I'm praying for you. I love you. What do you need?" And I want to show up for people before I need to. And so that is the thing. This is literally what's going to make me look outside of my project management software and want to actually get involved in the community because now that I've attached the word accountability to community, it takes on a whole new meaning for me. And that is exciting.
I love that wrap up. Attached community to the word accountability.
Mm-hmm. It's exciting. That excites me.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like a chore. It doesn't feel like just another thing to do. It's something to be excited about or to look forward to.
Yeah.
How about you?
So what I've been thinking about with expanding accountability beyond personal relationships. So I took this class in college called social psychology, and it was talking about how many people think in the way of almost like a singularity. Like if I throw some piece of litter out my window, that doesn't matter because it's just this one piece of litter. But if you think about if everybody thought that way, meaning not the people I know and not even my immediate community, but the world at large, my society and other societies, if everybody thought that way, then our world would just be one giant garbage can and nature would be ruined and everything would be an eyesore. So that's the way that I think about everything now is how can I leave this place a little bit nicer than the way that I found it, even if it's not me who's personally responsible for something. So I find that there's opportunities to serve in this way all the time. So I'll give you a couple little examples. For some reason, whenever I go to meetings, they're very preoccupied with the grocery cart. Because these people who end up coming in are these miserable alcoholics. They do end up having a spiritual transformation and becoming positive later, but they just always just leave their cart wherever. They're at the grocery store, their cart, leave it on the curb, leave it near their car, leave it somewhere where the worst is when people just leave it right in the middle of their parking spot so that the next person coming can't even park there. Those people are truly inconsiderate. But the coming into community, even in the vaguest sense, where this might not be someone you know and you don't know who might be the beneficiary of your action, is a feeling of belonging is what we all need. So you watch these people, and as they keep coming back, they start to say, today I took the extra 30 seconds to walk my cart across the parking lot to park it in one of those cart stands. And they start to perk up to an awareness of their community involvement.
Yes.
And I find that there's a million different ways to do this. So one example is the cart. I, of course, always return my cart. But another thing is, let's just say I did find some little piece of litter somewhere, especially if it's on the beach. It's like, why don't I just grab that thing and drop it in the garbage can on my way out? So just make that place a little bit nicer than when I found it. Another thing that really bothers me is the other day I was at TJ Maxx just returning something. I had to buy some work shirt because I was going to the office, and like I said, I own no clothes. So even just going into the office means I need to buy a shirt. So sad. But I was returning the shirts that didn't fit. And I asked them, this is going to make me sound really weird, but I did ask them, can you take this bag, but I only want to give it to you if you recycle it, because paper is recyclable. And they said no. And I was like, you're in the business of bags, paper bags. Why wouldn't you recycle it? They're like, we just throw it in the garbage. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
Well, then I know it's so stupid because you deal with probably hundreds of these every day. So I said, okay. And I took it out the door with me and I put it into my own recycling can because that's just a really easy thing that I can do. And I know that it doesn't make a difference with one paper bag, but what if everybody thought that way?
Yeah.
The world would be so much of a better place. And then the one other thing I do, which is really disgusting, and you're going to hate this because you can't even go into public restrooms, but if I go into a public restroom and there's pee all over the seat, I just clean it up.
Oh, Jesus.
I know. Because
my
the
body
thing is,
won't even register to have to use the bathroom outside the house.
But you know what I think about? I just think about the next woman. So I already had to walk into this bathroom and experience the eyesore of this and the disgustingness of this. So why don't I just take the 10 seconds to just wad up some toilet paper and just kind of like at least just wipe the droplets off so that the next woman who's coming in after me.
Because now there's vomit on it with Betina.
Well, that's fine because to each his own. I'm not expecting other people to do this, but I can just do a little dab, dab, dab. I'm not saying I'm, sanitizing it or something, but I'm just making it so that the next person doesn't have to have the experience I just had. And that's a really easy thing for me to do. And I don't go to public restrooms all that often. And I'm already using the toilet paper. So it's just like, hey, listen, you're welcome, whoever the next person came in, but it feels good to do a good deed. And I find that there's opportunities to do good deeds all the time. And it doesn't have to do with whether I like you or whether you're involved in my life. It just has to do with just lightening the load of whoever's following after.
Coming behind you.
Yeah. That's why I love that idea of paying for the person behind you in the drive-thru line when you go to Dunkin' Donuts and you just pay for the person right behind you. That's always a really fun thing to do. And I need to do that more often. I've only done that a couple of times, but it's a really fun thing to do because maybe that person was having a really hard day and then this random act of kindness just totally changed the trajectory of their day. Just these things are easy and love is free and love is unlimited. And it's just, that's how I want to give back. And that's, I have so many gifts in my life in spite of everything that's going on right now. I do always try to return to a sense of gratitude for how many gifts I've been given. And that's my way of paying it forward.
Aww. Jen, you're a whole love bug.
Yeah, I changed. I didn't used to. I used to be a curmudgeon. Now I'm a love bug.
You're an environment-loving, people-loving love bug.
I mean, I'm not gonna argue that point.
It's a good thing. It's a good
It
thing, and
is a
I
good
love it.
thing.
I
Yeah.
love it. Well, listen, on this note of community and contribution, let's go into our recipes. And today's recipe is potluck contribution. Jen, what dish for you sparks conversation and connection?
I'm really excited about this one because it's really new. Last Monday, so not this past Monday, but the one before that, I had an opportunity to go down the shore with my sponsor's parents, my favorite surrogate parents, and I just
Mhm.
jumped at it. I switched my PTO day of work and I just spontaneously drove down the shore to Manteloking. And they made me up a plate, which is also a real gift, especially me because I love food so much. So I'm just tucking into this plate and I experienced this pasta salad. And I think pasta salad is a really good potluck item to bring because who doesn't love pasta and who doesn't love mayo? I know some people don't love
Mhm.
mayo, but you're weird. So basically, it was a pasta salad. It was from this place called Lenny's in Point Pleasant. And it was basically ziti pasta, but smaller. I don't know
Mm.
what the exact name of it was. But the thing that it had that was really interesting is it had shredded cheddar cheese, like yellow cheddar. So you would think
Okay.
that pasta with mayo, that if you were to add also shredded cheese, that would be overkill. Absolutely not. It was
Mhm.
so good. It just looked like it would be too heavy, but it was actually just hearty and substantial. But the thing that really put it over the top for me is that I was like, what is this? What is this? And my sponsor's dad's like, it's pimento. And I was like, yeah, it is.
Mhm.
That's exactly what it is. Because Uncle Bob used to get this little dip. You can only really get it in the South, but you can also get it in New Hampshire randomly. And it's called something pimento. I'll put it in the show notes once I can remember what it's called. I'm looking for it all the time and I can't find it around here. But it's basically shredded cheddar cheese in a dip with pimentos. And you just scoop a pretzel or a chip or whatever, a cracker into it. It's so incredibly delicious. And so it was basically a similar to that. And I love that little thing. So that's it. It's
Mm.
just a pasta salad, but add shredded cheddar cheese and pimento. And I'm looking forward to recreating that. I don't know where I'll find the exact recipe I need. I guess I'll just keep trying until I recreate the magic of Lenny's in Point Pleasant. But that's what I'm planning to
Yes.
bring to the next barbecue.
That sounds good. It's funny that we're both on pasta.
Mm.
Because mine is so when I worked, I was famous for my macaroni and cheese. Being able
Mm.
to bring the homemade macaroni and cheese to a
I
potluck
believe
at
that.
work. This was
I
what
can see
they
that for
asked
you.
for, and I could never bring one. I always had to bring more than one. But this is one funny story because this baby just turned 15 this week, and that was why this story came to mind. One of my friends, my coworkers, was pregnant, and I asked her, she's about to deliver the baby. She's getting ready to go on maternity leave. And she said, I just want one thing. And I'm like, what? She says, I want macaroni and cheese. I want my own pan. And I said, okay. I said, but we're not having a potluck. She said, I just want my own pan of macaroni and cheese. And so I brought it
Just
to
for
her.
me.
And she took a fork and she sat that pan of macaroni and cheese that could easily feed 15 people on her belly. And she sat at her desk with a fork and ate
Nice.
macaroni and cheese. And it was the
Woman
best.
after my own heart.
And that baby just turned 15 this week. So this was amazing. I was reminded of that. But my mom's macaroni and cheese is just legendary. We just do things that most people don't. So I'm gonna boil regular large macaroni noodles and cook them to just before al dente. But the key is the cheese sauce. When I pull my macaroni noodles out of the hot water, when I pull them out of the boiling water, I put them into a pan. And in that pan, I immediately begin to salt my noodles with regular salt and white pepper. I don't use black pepper on my macaroni and cheese. I use white pepper. And I put a big dollop of sour cream. I put a
Ooh.
big dollop of Philadelphia cream cheese as
Ooh.
binders. And it just adds a level
Okay.
of richness
Yeah, and
that you
creaminess.
don't really have
You
with
need creaminess, yeah.
Yes. And so then I make my cheese sauce, and in a saucepan, I can get fancy. It depends on how fancy you want to be with your macaroni and cheese. When I'm being basic, I'm fine with white salt, white pepper. I can also put garlic powder. You can just really go. I don't care for seasoning salt in my macaroni and cheese. That's just a Betina thing, but do what you want. I like white salt, white pepper, and on a fancy day, I like garlic powder. Thus that's just on the noodles. And then, but on my cheese sauce, I put some evaporated milk in a pan.
Yep, that's essential for mac and cheese, actually.
Yes, I put that in a pan, and then I start loading shredded, mild and sharp cheddar cheese. I've used
What
Gouda.
brand?
I use Tillamook. That's my favorite.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Because it's just great melting cheese. So then you pour the cheese sauce into, and some people season their cheese sauce. Again, I like to season my noodles and not necessarily my cheese. And you pour that cheese sauce all over those noodles and you mix it in really good. So now your Philadelphia cream cheese has melted into the hot noodles. Oh, I also add a scoop of butter too. So you got
But the cheese sauce is just the cheese and the evaporated milk? That's how you're melting the cheese?
That's it. That's all it is. And so on the noodles, though, is the sour cream, Philadelphia cream cheese, and some butter. And so that's all melted up and really good and mixed in. So now when I'm mixing in that cheese sauce, this is where your creaminess and it's binded to the noodles. I hate when people make macaroni and cheese and the cheese and the noodles are separated.
Oh,
So
isn't
all
that
of
the worst?
It's the
and
worst.
Why is all restaurant mac and cheese like that? It's
I
always
hate
dry,
that with a passion.
and then there's noodles that don't even have any cheese on them,
I don't
and then it's never
understand
creamy
that.
enough. I don't
So
either.
all of this comes together into this beautiful creaminess. And so you just make sure you mix it in really good. And I always taste it here because this, again, is where your key is. If those noodles have no flavor, when you're at this stage, when it's done, it's not going to have flavor. Cheese is not going to give your noodles flavor, right? So I always taste it here. And then once I have everything all mixed up really good, I add just a layer of the sharp and mild cheddar cheese over the top, stick it in the oven for about 20 minutes, and I'll cover it
350.
and at 350, and then I take it off for that last 5 minutes and let the broiler on and let it get a little bit crunchy, crispy on top. And that's my famous mac and cheese. And it's so simple and it's so delicious. And you can add it. It's a great potluck addition. Great
But
potluck
what if you
addition.
taste the noodles and they're not flavorful enough? Is there
So then before you add that top layer of cheese, go ahead and add more salt and pepper.
Okay.
Yeah.
If
do
they're
it at that
bland,
stage.
just add more seasonings.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Copy
And
that.
garlic if you want. If you want to be fancy, but I'm simple. I do get crazy with macaroni and cheese, but that's the simplest way to make an excellent homemade mac and cheese.
Sounds delicious. I can't wait to try that.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what you get from it. So this has been, another amazing episode of Jen and I sharing all our hearts with you guys. Thanks for hanging in there with us today. Be great on purpose.
Thanks for listening to me cry and turn it around. And we love you all. There is not a damn thing you can do about it. Have a great 24. Peace.
Bye.
Everything reminds me of you. I can't take no more. Girl, I think I'm losing my mind. Try to go to work, but I lost track of time. Cause everyone keep looking like you. I can't take no more. I miss your touch from your hands and your body. It hurts so much to think of you with someone else. Can't get enough when you're sweet talking to me. Now I'm talking sweet all by myself. Put your arms around me, put your faith in me, put your love on